facilitated. And so we applied this then not only in the German-speaking part of the world, but in different parts of the world, and looked at collective scars. And basically, one of the most striking experiences is that when this heavy numbness comes into the room, so many people, it's not just that one person feels like this, it's like almost the whole group feels like that. And it's so clear that we meet the end of the conscious universe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating. It's like as if you can really see a signpost in the room. Here, the conscious world ends. Because it's like almost a palpable barrier that here the darkness or the underworld, or, there are many ways how we as human beings in human history describe that, but you can see the entrance to the underworld in the room. And I found that fascinating, that how that entrance to the underworld, or that end of the conscious world, lives 24/7 in us, in our nervous systems. We just don't put the spotlight of consciousness there. It's like there's a huge spotlight. And when it's been pointed at that end, that we see the end of the world, like the end of the conscious world, sits here amongst us all the time. Mm-hmm. And then we call it, we are failing to respond to the pandemic crisis in the most intelligent way. Mm-hmm. And I find this fascinating. Where do we look for the darkness when it sits amongst us and we are looking for it somewhere? And so this is just one of the learnings, like how that lives in us all the time. It doesn't matter if it's called the collective shadow of slavery or the Native American genocide, the Holocaust, other genocides, war trauma around the world. I mean, there are so many. Yeah, so that's how it started, basically.
Some parallel experience here with for me and my colleagues. In the 90s, in doing some group work, we began to speak about the appearance of the black hole. And so I was reminded of this as you were speaking. Right. And part of what we noticed is that when the black hole appears or arises in the group, one, at least initially, until one's eyes have learned to see it, the black hole arises and no one knows that it is here. Mm-hmm. Except that we are in it and being sucked into it. And everything that is said goes nowhere. No one responds to anything that's said by anybody because it's all going into the black hole.
Beautiful.
And I'm remembering the first group in 1995 that first became aware of the black hole and could come back. These were 7-day residencies. So could come back the next day and actually make the topic of inquiry, what happened yesterday? Mm-hmm. And then your emphasis where you began with is that this absence is a good term for this absence, which is not presence, but it is real. And we have to bring presence to this absence. And that's part of the practitioner capabilities that are important in how we educate collective trauma practitioners. Practitioners who can activate collective intelligence and presence collective wisdom in the midst of the chaos.
That's right. Beautiful. And that are willing to feel what cannot be felt at the beginning. and stay, like, are willing to go into the strong. And that's, I think, the challenge that we are learning. And that's where the mystical knowledge is so important, or the transpersonal knowledge. Because if I'm identified fully with my own personality or personal experience, it's very hard to make real space for you, because most of the things I see is me. So then practitioners learn to make more space for their clients and be in an authentic relation with themselves and their clients. But now we are, like, enlarging the game board extremely, and we are saying, wow, we are actually walking into the jungle of collective forces. Like, these are